Hello students, welcome to Nagesh Karisge Orchid School. Myself Snehal Mane teaching you science. So students, in the previous class we have started lesson number 9, living organisms and their surrounding. We have seen about the different habitats and how do the animals and plants survive in the different habitats by using their different features. So we have seen about the mountainous regions and deserts. Now we are going to see about the grasslands. We are going to see about grasslands. So let us see. A lion lives in a forest or a grassland and is a strong animal that can hunt and kill animals like deer. It is light brown in color. Look at the picture of a lion and that of a deer. How are the eyes placed in the face of these two animals? See here, lion and here deer. Are they in front on the side of the face? Lions have long claws in their front legs that can be withdrawn inside the toes. Do the features of a lion help it anyway too? Yes, the features of a lion help it to hunt the animals for their food, right? Its light brown color help him to hide in dry grasslands when it hunts for prey. Yeah, the animals in front of the face allow it to have a correct idea about the location of its prey. A deer is another animal that lives in the forest and grasslands. It has strong teeth for chewing hard plant stems of the forest. A deer needs to know about the presence of predators, animals like lion that make it their prey, in order to run away from them and not become their prey. It has long ears to hear movements of predators. The eyes on the side of its head allow it to look in all directions for danger. The speed of the deer helps them to run away from the predators. There are many other features of a lion, a deer or other animals and plants that help them to survive in their habitat. Okay. So, animals like lion and deer, they are mostly found in the forest and grasslands. So, they have such features they can easily adapt, like lion have the features of their claws to get the other animal as their food, and the deer has the color that they can easily hide and protect itself from the attack of the other animals for its food. The speed of the deer helps to run away from the predators. In this way, there are many special features for the lion and deer or other animals and plants that help them to survive in the specific habitat. Now, we are going to see about some aquatic habitats. Okay. Oceans. First, we will see about the ocean. Ocean is a huge body of salt water. It is a huge body of salt water. Fish live in water bodies and show the following adaptations. Let us see here. We already discussed how fish are adapted to live in the sea. Many other sea animals have streamlined bodies to help them move easily in water. There are some sea animals like squids and octopus which do not have this streamlined shape. They stay deeper in the ocean. Okay, so some sea animals like squids and octopus do not have streamlined shape. So they stay towards the end of the ocean. It means very deep. They stay deeper in the ocean, near the seabed, and catch any prey that moves towards them. However, when they move in water, they make their body shape streamlined. When they move in water, they make their body shape streamlined. These animals have gills to help them use oxygen dissolved in water. So, all the sea animals have gills so that they can breathe the dissolved oxygen from the water. There are some sea animals like dolphins and whales that do not have gills. They breathe in air through nostrils or blowholes that are located on the upper parts of their heads. This allows them to breathe in air when they swim near the surface of water. They can stay inside the water for a long time without breathing. They come out of the surface from time to time to breathe in air. Did you ever see this interesting activity of dolphins in television program or films on ocean's life? Yes, we have seen about the dolphins. Okay. So, fish respires through gills. Their body is streamlined. The streamlined shape of the body helps the fish to swim fast. The skin is covered with waterproof scales that protect it from decaying in water. Fish have gills that help them to breathe in water. Fish swim with the help of fins. Some aquatic animals such as dolphins, whales do not have gills. They breathe through the lungs. They inhale air through nostrils present in the upper parts of their heads. Nostrils allow them to breathe in the air when they swim near the surface of the water. So, these were about the oceans, aquatic habitat oceans. Now, let us move towards ponds and lakes. Have you seen plants growing in ponds, lakes, rivers and even some drains? Go on a field trip to a nearby pond if possible and try to draw the kinds of plants that are seen there. How are the leaves, stems and roots of these plants placed? A pond or a lake is a smaller freshwater body as compared to the sea or the ocean. A large variety of aquatic plants grow in ponds, lakes and rivers. Two common types of aquatic plants and floating plants, submerged and submerged plants. So, there are different kinds of aquatic plants, floating plants, submerged plants and aquatic plants. Some of these plants have their roots fixed in the soil below the water. In terrestrial plants, the roots normally play a very important role in the absorption of nutrients and water from the soil. However, in aquatic plants, roots are much reduced in size and their main function is to hold the plant in the place. So, when it comes to the terrestrial plants, in the terrestrial plants, roots play a very important role for the absorbing of nutrients and all, but in case of aquatic plants, the roots are much reduced in size. It means they are smaller in size and its main function is to hold the plant in a place. They just hold the plant in a place. The stems of these plants are long, hollow and light. It means they are light, they do not have much weight. The stems grow up to the surface of the water while the leaves and flowers float on the surface of the water. Some aquatic plants are totally submerged in water. Some plants are totally inside the water. All parts of such plants grow under water, even the leaves, roots, everything grows inside the water. Some of these plants have narrow and thin ribbon like leaves. This can bend in the flowing water. In some submerged plants, leaves are often highly divided, through which the water can easily flow without damaging them. Frogs usually have ponds as their habitat. Frogs can stay both inside the pond water as well as move on the land. They have strong back legs that help them in leaping and catching their prey. They have webbed feet which help them swim in water. We have discussed only a few common animals and plants compared to a wide variety that live in the different habitats. You may have also noticed that the very wide variety of in plants around you. When you prepared a herbarium as a part of the suggested activity in chapter 7. Imagine the kind of variety that you could see in a herbarium of leaves of plants from all the regions of the earth. So, this was what we have seen about the aquatic habitats, about ocean, ponds and lakes. We have seen about the different plants and animals, how do they survive in the following habitats. Let us see now living things around us. We went on a journey through different habitats and discussed many plants and animals. In activity, we listed objects, plants and animals found in different surroundings. Suppose we stop a while and think which examples in our list are living. Let us think of examples from a forest, trees, creepers, small and big animals, birds, snakes, insects, rocks, soil, water, air, dry leaves, dead animals, mushrooms and moss. Maybe only some of the objects that are present in the forest. Which of these are living? Can you find out which of these are living and which of these are non-living? Think of the objects that you can see around you at this moment and group them as living and non-living. In some cases, it is easy for us to know. For example, objects like chair or a table in our homes, we know that they are not alive. Paheli was reading this rhyme from Complete Nonsense written by Edward Lear. So, what was the rhyme? So, this was the rhyme. Set the table to the chair, you can't hardly be aware how I suffer from the heat and from chill plains on my feet. If we took a little walk, we might have a little talk. Pray let us take the air, set the table to the chair. Set the chair to the table, now you know we are not able. How foolishly you talk, when you know we cannot walk. Set the table with a sign, it can do no harm to try. I have as many legs as you, why can't we walk on two? Okay, so this was a rhyme which was a discussion between the chair and the table. Okay, but as we know they are not the living organisms, so they cannot talk, move or grow. Paheli and Buju found the poem so funny because they knew that the chair or the table is not alive and it cannot talk, walk or suffer from the usual problems that all of us have. A chair, table, stone or a coin, we know that they are not alive. Similarly, we do know that we are alive and so are all the people of the world. We also see animals around us that are so full of life, dogs, cats, monkeys, squirrels, insects and many others. How do we know that something is living? Often it is not so easy to decide, but we know that there are few characteristics that from that we can identify the particular thing is living or non-living. On the other hand, a car or a bus can move, still we consider them as a living. Plants and animals appear to grow in size with time, but then at times clouds in the sky also seem to grow in size. Does it mean that clouds are living? No. So, how does one distinguish between living and non-living things? Do living things have some common characteristics that make them very different from the living things? So, all the living things and non-living things have some characteristics or features. From that we can understand whether the thing is living or non-living. You are a wonderful example of a wonderful living being. What characteristics do you have which make you different from a non-living thing? Are you a living being? Yes, we all are living beings. So, we have some specific characteristics that make us different from the living non-living things. So, let us see what are those. List a few of these characteristics in your notebooks, like you grow, your height increases, you can move, then you can breathe, yeah, you eat food, you require energy. So, these are different kinds of characteristics by living organisms, which may also found in animals or plants. Some of these characteristics are perhaps common to all living things. They have the same common things. Do all living things need food? Yes, all living things need food, and it is essential for plants and animals also. We have also learned that plants make their own food through the process of photosynthesis. Animals depends upon plants and other animals for their food. So, we depend on plants for the food, and animals also depend on plants for the food. Food gives organisms the energy. Energy is needed for them to grow. Organisms needs energy for other life processes that go on inside them. Do all living things show growth? Do you grow? Yes, we grow, our height increases. Does the kurta you had 4 years back still fit you? No, you cannot wear it more, right? You must have grown taller during these years. You may not realize it, but you are growing all the time, and in few more years you will become an adult. Young ones of animals also grow into adults. So, a baby after few years becomes a boy, then the height increases, the growth always is happening. A baby grows into an adult, which is an example of that all the living things grow. In the same way, pups of a dog grow into adults. A chicken hatched from an egg grows into a hen or a cock. Plants also grow. Look around you, see a few plants of a particular type. Some are very small and young, some are grown, means some are very big. They may all be in different stages of growth. Look at the plants after a few days and weeks. You may find that some of them have grown in size. Growth seems to be common to all living things. Do you think non-living things cannot show growth? Yeah, do non-living things show growth? Do they require food? No. Do they grow? Means do their height increases? No, non-living things do not grow. All living things respire, it means breathe. Can we live without breathing? Can we live without oxygen? No. When we inhale, the air moves from outside to inside the body. When we breathe out, the air moves from inside our body to outside. Breathing is a part of process called respiration. Breathing is a part of process called respiration. In respiration, some of the oxygen of the air we breathe in is used by the living body. We breathe out carbon dioxide produced in this process. The process of breathing in animals like cows, buffaloes, dogs or cats is similar to humans. Observe any one of these animals while they are taking rest and notice the movement of their abdomen. This slow movement indicates that they are breathing, Respiration is necessary for all the living organisms. Respiration is necessary for all the living organisms. It is through respiration that the body finally obtains energy from the food it takes. Some animals may have different mechanisms for the exchange of gases. It means for the process of respiration. For example, earthworm breathe through their skin. Fish breathe through the gills. Gills absorb oxygen from the dissolved water. So, different animals have different processes for breathing. Do plants also respire? Yes. Exchange of gases in plants mainly takes place through the leaves. The leaves take in air through the tiny pores which are present on the leaves. They give out carbon dioxide to the air. We learned that in sunlight, plants use carbon dioxide of air to produce their own food and give out oxygen. Plants produce their food only during the daytime, whereas respiration in them takes place day and night. The amount of oxygen released in the process of food preparation by plants is much more than the oxygen they use in respiration. Okay, students, the oxygen released in process of the food preparation is more than they respirate. Next we will see about, do all living things respond to stimuli? How do you respond? It means, do you respond to any things like thorns or needle? If you suddenly step on a sharp object like a thorn while walking on a bare foot, it means without anything you are just walking. How do you feel when you see or think about your favorite food? You suddenly move from a dark place into bright sunlight. How do you feel? What happens? Your eyes shut themselves automatically for a moment. They adjust to the changed bright surroundings. Your favorite food, bright light and thorn in the above situations are some examples in your surroundings. All of us respond immediately to such changes. It means we respond to all these changes that are happening in our surroundings. Changes in our surrounding that makes us respond to them are called stimuli. Do other animals also respond to stimuli? Observe the behavior of animals. When the food is served to them, do you find them suddenly becoming active or on seeing the food? Yes, you see na? They are very excited to eat the food. Do you find when you move towards a bird, what does it do? It flies away. Wild animals run away when a bright light is flashed towards them. Similarly, cockroaches begin to move to their hiding places if the light in the kitchen is switched on at night. Yes, these are the changes or responses that are happening. Can you give some more examples of the responses for this type of stimuli? Do plants also respond to stimuli? Flowers of some plants bloom only at night. Yeah, night flowering plants. It means the flowers are produced only at nights. In some plants, flowers close after sunset. In some plants like mimosa, commonly known as touch me not plant, when we touch it, what happens? It close or fold when someone touches them. These are some examples of the responses of plants towards changes in their surrounding. These were the few changes in the surrounding. Activity. Place a potted plant in a room a little away from a window through which sunlight enters sometime during the day. Continue watering the plant for a few days. Does the plant grow upright like plants outside in the open? Note the directions. What happens? The plants which is getting proper conditions, proper things, that only will grow. All living things respond to the changes around them. Let us see about living organisms and excretion. All living things take food. Not all the food that is eaten is really used. Only a few part is utilized by the body. Yes, only a few part is utilized by the body. What happens to the rest? This has to be removed by the body as waste. Our body also produces some waste in other life processes. The process of getting rid of this waste by the living organisms is known as excretion. It is known as excretion. Do plants also excrete? Yes, they do. However, the mechanisms in plants are little different. Their things are different, but they do excrete. Some harmful or poisonous materials do not produce in plants as waste. Some plants find it possible to store the waste products within their parts in a way that they do not harm the plants as a whole. Some plants remove waste products as secretions. Excretion is another characteristic common to all the living organisms. Next thing is, do all living things reproduce? Yes. Have you ever seen nest of some birds like pigeons? Many birds lay eggs in the nest. Some of eggs may hatch and the young birds come out of this. So, the birds reproduce, the animals reproduce, human beings and plants also reproduce. Animals reproduce their own kind, plants reproduce. Like animals, plants also differ in their mode of reproduction. Many plants reproduce through seeds. Plants reproduce through seeds, leaves, roots, right? Some plants also reproduce through a part other than the seeds, like a bud grows into a new plant. Sometimes leaves are also used. So, this was about the reproduction. Then we are going to see activity. Take a cutting from a rose and mend the plant, fix it in the soil and water it regularly. It may not be easy to grow a plant from the cutting. Do not disappoint if your cutting does not grow. Talk to a gardener. There are few proper cuttings. We need to cut, give the proper things to it, then and then only it grows. Next is living things move. So, all the animals move from one place to another place, even human beings also move. What about plants? Do they also move? Plants are generally anchored in soil, they do not move from one place to another. However, various substances like water, mineral and the food synthesized by them moves from one part of the plant to other. Have you noticed other kind of movement like opening and closing of flowers? This is nothing but response to certain stimuli. We also have seen some non-living things moving like a bus, car. There is such a variety of living though the non-living things are moving, but they do not have few characteristics like living beings, so we cannot say those are living beings. There is such a variety of living organisms, but all of them show some common characteristics as we have discussed. Yet another common characteristic is that living beings die. Living beings die because organisms die. Organisms types can survive over thousands of years only if they reproduce their own kind. One single organism may die without ever reproducing, but the type of organism can exist only if there is reproduction. Okay, all the organisms that are living, one or the other day they may die. They may reproduce or they may not, but they may die one or the other day. So, we have seen about all the characteristics of living and non-living things. What is then life? So, let us see. Push your hand deep inside a sack of a wheat. Do you find it is warm inside? Yes, there is some heat being produced inside the sack of wheat. The seeds respire and in that process give out some heat. We see that respiration is a process that takes place in seeds even when some of the other life processes may not be very active. It may not be very easy to answer our question, what then is life? However, looking at all the diversity of living beings around us, we can conclude that life is beautiful. Life is beautiful. Okay. So, students, we have seen about the different habitat of the animals like terrestrial habitat, then aquatic habitat. How do the plants, animals survive to the specific habitat? We have also seen about the characteristics of the living things, and we have seen then what is life. We can't say exactly what is life, we need some more time to discuss about this, but still we can say that life is beautiful. Life is beautiful. So, we will meet in the next class by we will look towards a new topic. Thank you, students.